Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. We greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh on this day, 10th day of the month of Rabiul Thani of the year 1445, from my native island of Trinidad. I want to offer a brief comment on the subject of Islamic eschatology. I have been blessed by Allah. He is kind to me that He allowed me to pioneer this new branch of knowledge in Islamic scholarship, Islamic eschatology. Eschatology is a study of the end times, and the Christians had a very advanced branch of knowledge, Christian eschatology, and the Jews also had it, but we never had it. We would study the signs of the end times as a part of our study of hadith, this hadith of the Prophet. This is where we studied it, but we never studied it as an independent branch of knowledge, and we did not go to the Quran as the primary source of knowledge, and then go to the hadith, to study the hadith to the extent that it is in harmony with the Quran. This was never done. And by Allah's kindness and leave, blessings, I was able to pioneer this branch of knowledge. These last 25 years of my life have been spent writing many books on the subject of Islamic eschatology. And Jerusalem in the Quran was the first, and still remains the bestseller. And now my last book, The Messiah, the Quran, and the End Time, is a more mature explanation of the subject. But I have lived, Allah has allowed me to live long enough to witness with my own eyes that yesterday they were calling me a madman. Yesterday they were saying I'm crazy. Yes. Yesterday they were turning away from me and calling me by all kinds of names. It happened in New York, it happened elsewhere in the world. But now, after 25 years, look at the story now. That events which have been unfolding in the world these last 25 years, and now particularly at this time in the Holy Land, is a spectacular validation of this branch of knowledge of Islamic eschatology. That this is the branch of knowledge which is explaining the world today and the events which are unfolding in the world today as no other branch of knowledge can do it. And so, we first of all, we thank Allah for His kindness to us. And then we thank our great teachers who taught us. And Iqbal was a great teacher to me, although I never met him. But my teacher, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari, is the first name I have to mention. With my gratitude that I've through these great teachers who are now sleeping in their graves, I was able to pioneer this branch of knowledge. But let me not forget that when I graduated from Karachi University with a master's degree in philosophy, and then I graduated from the Alimi Institute of Islamic Studies in 1971. And I returned to my native island of Trinidad. The government of Trinidad interviewed me and said, we'd love to have you in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I was selected and sent back to university to study international relations here at the Institute of International Relations of the University of the West Indies. And the government of Trinidad and Tobago, in particular the Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams, they must be commended. They must be commended. They must be commended for the insight and the foresight and the wisdom with which they acted. And they chose a special scholar to be the director of the institute. And he was appointed as director at that moment when I was about to enter the institute. And I refer to Professor Dr. Leslie Manigat from Haiti, who did his PhD at the Sorbonne in France. And when I sat down in the classroom and I listened to this man, he would lecture for 2 hours. His shirt would be wet at the end of 2 hours, but he was a dynamite. And he explained political history to me, and partly also economic history, the essence of the history, the political and economic history of mankind, the history of international relations. He did it brilliantly. And if today I have this insight into affairs of the world, I must also mention the name of my dear teacher, Professor Dr. Leslie Manigat. And so we are experiencing today a spectacular validation of Islamic eschatology. And therefore I want to invite you to study the subject. If you are young and you're about to enter university, you're about to enter into the world of knowledge, higher knowledge, I want to urge you to study this subject. And when I was a student at the Graduate Institute of International Studies in Geneva, 1974, there were no teachers to teach this subject. My director of my PhD was the director of the institute himself, the Graduate Institute, Professor Jacques Frémont was the director of the institute, and he was my thesis director. He said to me, Imran, search the world of Islam and find a competent man who knows this subject. Those were his words to me. And I searched, and there was no one. And there were no books on the subject, none. But today, so many years later, that was 1974, so 26, 36, 46, about 50 years later, the story is different now. Because now you have all the books I have written on the subject. You don't have to go through the efforts that I had to make all these 50 years. So I'm urging you, you can download all my books free of charge from the website, my website, www.imranhosein.org. But if you want to buy the books, then you can buy the books. I can also autograph them for you if you just send me an email. If you're ordering a complete set, then I'll autograph the whole set for you. So I want to urge you in this brief video, wherever you are, urge you, please study my books on Islamic eschatology, because this will prepare you to help you to understand events unfolding in the world today, when the American aircraft carriers and their destroyers and their Patriot anti-aircraft missiles and all of these things are now being placed in that part of the world, and the fireworks are about to start. Please, please, please read my books. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.